Good morning, everyone. Today is October 11th. My name is Marty Hicks. My website, my name is Marty Forrest. I keep forgetting. My mom even reminded me, you need to change your voicemail message going out. Because I haven't changed it everywhere yet. So, big adjustment to take a new name, which I'm very happy to do. My resistance was always about all the legality of changing it. But I'm very excited. It's just the name, right? Okay, let me start over. My name is Marty Forrest. The website is helloextraordinarylife.com. Check it out. There's a free offer there for an ebook. And there's information about the course that I offer and one-on-one coaching. And lots of blogging to read. Lots of stuff I read as I'm going as I'm going through my life stuff and traveling my own journey into loving myself from the inside out. So check that out. Also, all of these calls are recorded, and you can find those on the website under Insider Calls. And they'll have the title of whatever we talked about that day. And today is, what is your sideways? And I thought I should have put a little hyphen in there, sideways. Because our behavior comes out on the side when I'm not dealing with something, and I see it all over. So I say we, because it encompasses how we behave in the world, and when we're not looking at something or looking at it directly or feeling it, it'll come out in a different way, in another behavior. Yeah, Susie was talking about her sarcasm. Mine is the F-bomb. That's my primary. Here's what I'm noticing is I have a primary way it comes out, and I'll start dropping the F-bomb, especially when I'm playing my game. So I'm not directing it towards somebody, and then beyond that, those are my cues. Those are my red flags that tell me, hey, something's up. It's real subtle at first, and then it gains momentum. I don't always know yet what it is, but I am very aware that's my cue, that something's going on, simmering under the surface there. That maybe I'm not feeling it yet, or I just don't know. Maybe something happened that I haven't really given a lot of thought to. And that's how it shows up for me. And then beyond that obvious cue for me, I'll start getting short or irritated over little things around me, something my husband will say or something that someone says or something. I see something on Facebook. It starts coming out more. It starts gaining that momentum because I haven't really looked to see what's under that. So that's what I'm talking about sideways. It comes out in other ways because I'm not looking at what's really going on. So I encourage us to pay attention to that. Pay attention to, if you know what yours is, when you start seeing it, just to be aware, this place of observation, observing what's happening. I had someone tell me that she couldn't quite figure out how to mix the business and the relationship because she was coming to me for massage and some things like that, and so we needed to change our status of our relationship, which just kind of blindsided me. So some of the things I did, rather than wait for that to start coming out sideways, because I was hurt and I was angry, and it always gets revealed as I look and feel, and I called a mentor, and I said, hey, this is what happened. And she's like, well, it's not really about me. Great, but my feelings are still hurt. Now, I know it's going to come out sideways because when Luke came home and I'm getting short and snappy with him because I don't know what to do with this. So here's my sideways, right? It's still coming out sideways. And I'm not really angry, but I'm hurt. So this is about really getting in front of that so that I don't take it out on someone else in that sideways manner. And I finally sat down and meditated about that. This is different than the one I wrote to you all. I sat down and meditated about it, and then I wrote a blog about it because I could see myself in this meditation. I asked Spirit to show me through Spirit eyes what's the bigger thing going on here? Because there's been a couple people that have just stopped the relationship that we had going on. And what I saw was me as this little girl, and I'm screaming at my parents. Why? Why did you... Sorry, there's a scam call calling in. Why did you treat me this way? Why? I'm just yelling at them because I felt dismissed a lot and I felt unimportant, and there was no in these situations there was no completion to the relationship. There was no closure. They just were like, it's done. We're changing it. And I thought, wow, So I'm asking my dad. I'm like, hey, my dad, he died last year. So in spirit, I'm like, why? I'm screaming at him, why? And I remember somebody told me one day that he did not know how to deal with my emotions. So he tried to control it. That was my growing up. And I realized then that, so underneath all of that stuff about them, where it appears it's about them and it's starting to come out a little bit sideways toward Lou, is that little girl inside of me is feeling rejected and dismissed. And I'm the only one that can take care of that for her today. I don't need my parents to parent me anymore. But that was the process I went through to get to a place of how do I need to take care of me and deal with those emotions and hurt feelings that are showing up and what's really going on. So I'm not treating others disrespectfully or the same way. Dismissing them in some way. Because that's how it'll start to show up, too, is I'll start doing how I was treated. So it's quite a conundrum of different ways that can show up when there's something going on internally. Another thing I'll do is I'll go retail therapy. And I do it online. I now do it online. Sometimes I go shopping, but generally I'll do it online. Oh, I could buy this. Oh, that's only $10. Oh, that's only $20. And before I know it, I'm up to, $100, $200 buy stuff that I don't actually need. And when I start doing that, sometimes it's just I'm shopping. And other times I can feel something underneath that. There's a feeling under it. And I go, all right, I'm doing some retail therapy here. What's going on? So, that's another way mine comes out sideways. It seems quite innocent and non-harming, but it is it's another cue for me to really look at, is there something missing that I'm trying to fill up? And this is how it's coming out sideways. I'm spending money that I could be repurposing somewhere else. I don't need to buy more clothes or books or... And if you've been to my house, I have tons of books, and I buy more. I love my books, so it's another thing I'll do. So just there are many, many ways that they'll come out sideways, and it's always the sideways behavior is always trying to protect that feeling inside so that we don't feel the hurt. Right? It's like a protective mechanism, and we often don't recognize it until we're right in it doing it. And if we don't even know, we don't even know. We just do it, and that's how we are. So clearly I feel like when people come and they read and they listen to what I'm sharing, that they want to know how to do more than what status is today, how they are today. So I love to be able to offer some tools just based on my own experience and my own growth. So let's see. Do I have anything else I want to add about that? Ways to, when you start seeing it, I've started meditating. I've done the meditation, but I actually started meditating purposefully to look at what is really going on for me. Because it's generally beyond what appearances are. Like the situations where those people just said, our relationship status is changing, or it's not going to be anything at all. I'm clear that it feels like that from them, rejection, dismissal. And when I sit with it and meditate about it, it's something much deeper. They've touched a really deep wound that brings out that place of wanting to protect myself because I don't want to feel that pain. So it looks like or feels like it's about them. And when I look a little deeper than that and I meditate about it, when I'm having that intense kind of reaction about it, I know it's something more. And it often comes from my childhood. Sometimes it's not that extreme. Sometimes it's simply that maybe this is not okay and I allowed it to be okay. And I dismissed my own feeling about it. And now it's coming out sideways. Sometimes I know when we're going through caretaking, grieving the loss of people, when I did my grief group, it was reminded us constantly that when we're grieving, our brain will always go to the negative. So I think there's just that place of acknowledging it, acknowledging the grief, and speaking it out loud. For me, it was speaking it out loud and talking about it. Even if I didn't know what I was feeling, just speaking about it so that I didn't leave it rolling around inside of me. And Susie talked about your sarcasm. So I know your action is you did the silence. It's not going to contribute anything. So maybe there's nothing really going on about that that's way deep from childhood. Maybe it's simply this is a behavior that protects me from something that I think I'm going to feel hurt about. That's usually what happens. Yeah, I think I'm done right there. I'm like, what else do I want to say? I want to check in with you all. Takeaways, something you resonate with, the way that you see your behavior coming out in a sideways manner, ways that you deal with it or not.
Hi, this is Nancy. I have had this happen a lot, and just recently I finally saw it, and that when I want to speak with my husband and he doesn't listen or he changes the subject and I don't feel heard, which from my childhood, I felt that way too. And I decided, that's it, fine, I'm just not going to talk. And if he doesn't know it or doesn't find it out, that's his problem. Ha, ha, ha. And so we have barely talked for the last at least couple days, and he hasn't noticed. And it just keeps coming out sideways now on the kids, and certainly not him because I'm not talking to him. And he doesn't even notice. I need to deal with that and meditate on that. And it's I didn't even realize it until we were talking about that this morning, that's what I'm doing. And it's just not okay. So
well, Nancy, I suspect he notices that he's not willing to open that can of worms is generally what that might look like. And it is sideways. The sideways is your silence, and then the behavior acting out is toward your children.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have a conversation then about how that might look in a delivery. And maybe he's just not ready to hear it. Or there could just be that too.
True.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of changes lately with me. And they will seem odd to my family, I'm sure, because it's a whole new me. And the way I deal with things and with them. So, yes, I'm sure, yes, I'll need help with delivery.
Well, here's what happens when we begin to change. And this is for all of us. We begin to change. We begin to deal with things differently. Our family is used to the way that we've always been. And we are changing the rules. Eventually they'll come along, probably, most likely. But in the beginning, they don't know what to do. And they will often attempt to reel us back into where they're comfortable in that same kind of behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've noticed that.
Susie or Stacy, have anything you want to add? I didn't hear Stacy drop off, but she may not be able to talk.
I'm still here. I just had you muted. And I was laughing at a couple of the things. But I've been writing some stuff as you're talking. And my last thought was, I wish I would have known this when my daughter was younger, because I did. I remember taking things out on her. I didn't have a husband, so he got it all, and it was sideways.
Right?
It wasn't pretty, but I paid for counseling later.
Yeah.
And today we can talk things out really in a healthy way. I'm living with her, so we have to be on our toes, because both of us can get that way. I realized I don't know what you were saying when I wrote this, and I don't like writing it or saying it, so I probably need to. I don't have money to act out with, so I act out with sitting and doing nothing. Oh, my God.
Now, when you're sitting and doing nothing, is that your isolation?
Yeah. I mean, it's my rebellion. It's my throwing a tantrum. It's my, oh, my God, it's disgusting. But I guess I have to see it so I can work on it, because I think you said something about retail therapy. I think that's what and I used to do that. And I can't do that. I can't go out to eat. I can't. I want what I want. But I have so many other things to do, and I'm not poor. I mean, I'm poor, but I'm not destitute. My bills are paid. I'm comfortable. I just don't have that extra cushion anymore. And so I don't know what to do, But I've been watching DIYs. Like I could do this a cheaper way.
Yeah. I love that. So you're finding solutions.
Well, I haven't acted on them. I have just
That's all right.
sitting there looking at my phone and Facebook and games, and I'm sucked in. So that's kind of my sideways.
Sometimes it's okay.
Sometimes.
When we're using it to avoid something.
Yeah.
Or we just don't know. Sometimes we just don't know.
Well, the journals come back out.
Good.
I've been meditating a lot, but not on that. So I put a note to meditate with purpose.
I like that.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
So I think that's all I got right now.
Thanks, Susie.
Uh-huh.
And I am still here. I had you guys on mute, but I shut my door so I could talk for a few seconds. I like what Susie just shared, because that's when you were talking about how does it come out sideways, I didn't even kind of understand it. But I gained some when you guys were all sharing, and I revert into isolation and silence.
Mm-hmm.
And I just shut down. Because you said grief always goes to the negative, and that's where I've been sitting for almost 9 months now. But I don't like it. But I do little things to change it. And then I come home, And I'm in full caretaking mode of this elderly person that I didn't choose to be her caretaker, you know?
Yeah. That was why I said it, because I knew that you were in that space. Spirit moved me to do that, so I wasn't thinking of that.
I don't like myself when I'm negative. I had a Foxy tell me a couple weeks ago that she didn't know how to deal with me anymore because I'm not happy, all the time happy.
Who said that?
It's one of my sponsees. And it just
okay.
It crushed me.
Okay, so can I share something with you?
Yeah.
Because it was something I learned in the grief group, and they gave us a sheet that gave us labels. They're labels for people about how they show up for us. And there were like 5 different ways that people show up for us when we're grieving. And there's that exact thing right there where they don't know what to do with us. Some of them are there to listen. Some of them are there to distract us. And some are, I can't remember all 5, but I remember having someone in my life that way, that if I wasn't showing up the way that they like me showing up, then they didn't want to be around me, which crushed me because we've been friends for a long time. I helped her a lot, and I thought she'd show up the same way. But she expected me to be the same way that I'd always been, and said some pretty hurtful things. So it helped me to know that there were different ways that people show up or not when we're grieving, because they don't know how, mostly because they don't deal with their own. And if you've always shown up a certain way for her as a sponsee, then she has that expectation.
Right.
And that's unfortunate that she's not able to shift and be more for you, but she may not know how.
Right. And that's kind of what I got when I did the work down to it, is she didn't know how. She doesn't know how. And you're right. She hasn't dealt with the grief in her life, you know.
Yeah.
She avoids it at all costs. We've been working on that for 2 years now.
Well, and you're reflecting that to her as you walk through yours.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's her sideways. I don't like being around you because you're negative all the time, or however she said that.
I just cry a lot.
That's a good thing.
I hope so.
It is. It's good to cry. It's good to let that out.
Okay. So yeah, that's my sideways. Is I go in, I just go into silence and into isolation, and I won't do anything.
So, be clear about when you're isolating and when you're in solitude.
What's the difference?
Because sometimes solitude is the way that we can heal and rejuvenate ourselves. Sometimes we just need the quiet. It's when the isolation is when we're withdrawing from the people around us.
Okay. So I do it some of the time. Sometimes it is solitude.
Yeah, so that helped me a lot to learn the distinction between, I love my solitude, and I'm very clear when I'm isolating.
Okay.
And sometimes I'll justify it. I just need some solitude, when really I am isolating. So there's a difference. Okay. Sometimes we need that to heal our own spirit and our own soul. We just need to not be around people for a minute. And that's okay. But it feels like isolation. Like when they feel the same, we label it the same, and maybe it's not really.
Okay. I have a win.
You have a win? Yes.
And you reminded me with that. Yesterday I worked with 3 sponsees, and that exhausts me. And when I got home, I pulled in the driveway, and I didn't want to deal with my daughter and the baby. Not that they're bad or anything. I just wanted my solitude because I am used to living alone. And I said, well, don't go in the house. So I just went out to the garage and sat there for a little bit, and I putzed around. I wasn't doing the nothing. I put my massage music on, and I just kind of started puttering around in the garage. So that felt really good because I just wanted quiet.
Yes.
Take care of me.
Yeah, and when we're giving and we're givers and caretaking, sometimes we need that just to recuperate.
Yeah, so win.
Yay! Win-win. Thank you all for being here and sharing so openly and vulnerably, and it will help many people to be able to hear that there are many ways our sideways behaviors comes out. We call it all kinds of things. That's just one of the ways I label it. And then I keep talking about other ways that we do these things that we can relate to differently. So thank you. I appreciate you. And I will hopefully hear you all next week. I'll hear some of you on Saturday morning.
Amen.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Have a great day.